Wrecked him. Darn near killed him.
I was going to do a hardly knower, but I couldn't think of a word that would.
I forget how that one goes.
It needs to be an ER word.
So if I say slower.
Slower, and then you say, slower, I hardly know her.
Oh, that doesn't really fit.
No.
That's what she said.
Down.
That was pretty cool. Hey, Mackie.
Hey, Tony.
What's going on?
Oh, nothing. Just podcasting.
This is your final episode for this break here in studio.
For 2 weeks, and then I'll be back. But
Okay.
how sad.
I know, and I'm very sad. But we had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for letting me.
That was fun.
Thanksgiving's okay.
I always liked it. My birthday is always around Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you did just have a birthday. Do you want to tell everyone how old you are?
Do you know how old I am? I know we probably played this game already a time or two. Do you know?
50. 54.
54. That's exactly correct. And I feel a day over 53. No, I really feel really good. I feel amazing.
You're basically literally a day over 53.
I
So
am. But I feel great. It really is good. And it was fun to have you here. And it's really fun for you to be in studio.
it is.
And I'm stalling because I'm trying to remember what I said, now what are we talking about? And you said, I already told you. And I think you implied old man.
And you stupid old man. I literally already told you.
Remember, but so we're having this moment right now where you're going to reveal what we're talking about today and I will react. And this is like a crossover. Is that a thing? A collab? Is that what the kids call it? Where as soon as we're done here, you're going to come on Love ADHD, which is the podcast that I co-host with our friend Julie Lee, who got extensions from you.
She
and then
did.
pets her hair all the time.
If you get extensions, you would understand.
Do you?
Have to. You have to just pet it.
I mean, it's
You
so
wouldn't
fun.
know.
I would not know.
You'll
But
never
it's
know.
fun because we do video for that one as well. And she just sits there and she didn't have extensions at first. And now she does. And she doesn't even notice. And she just sits there and pets her hair. The whole
It's
time.
very comforting.
That's what people do though,
Yeah.
for real.
Yeah.
That's funny. So get extensions and pet your hair.
Yeah. It's quite the experience.
Yeah. So what are we talking about today, Mac?
First, you never let me say, welcome back.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Which we don't have to ever. But
No, do. It's good.
welcome back to The Mind, the Mirror, and Me, the podcast where it's funny that I don't even remember what it is. I'm a 23-year-old hairstylist, and we're talking about stuff, and you're
Mental
a
health.
therapist.
I'm a
And
therapist. I am a real therapist.
you are a real therapist. I'm a real hairstylist, and we talk about stuff.
Yes, we do.
So welcome.
And go check this out on YouTube if you would like to see. Let me plug my Wake Up to Narcissism podcast if you want to see what we look like, because that would be a real treat.
You just really need to see how good we look right now.
Okay.
Head over to YouTube. Good grief. Okay, no. So we're talking about something today.
Okay.
For our topic today. Let me set the stage for you, okay?
Okay.
I was either reading an article or watching a TikTok or something.
Kind of the same for the kids these days.
That's why, that's what
For
I'm like, it
real,
all
it's kind of a
mixes
trip.
together, and
Yeah.
some form of media consumption was happening.
Okay.
And I saw someone that was basically reminding people that it's very normal to not have a lot of friends
Oh, yes.
in your 20s.
Yeah.
Which this is not even what we're talking about, but I'm just setting the stage here, okay? So then I see that and I'm like, is this true? Because vulnerable. I don't have a lot of friends
Yeah.
in my 20s. And so I went ahead and Googled. I don't know if
Okay.
you ever Googled anything
I
before.
have not. I'm not familiar
but
with it. I
he
also
says
missed it.
as he's Googling right this very second. No, but I'm Googling and I'm like asking just other questions like, what's the average number of friends people have in their 20s?
Oh, I've
and
never
what's
looked at
like
this. Yeah.
all this stuff, which it's not a lot. It's like 3 to 5 for most people. But anyways, again, this is not even what we're talking about. I wrote down 50% of people say they only have 3 or less close friends.
Okay.
Interesting. But anyways, I'm looking at statistics and whatever. And then since you've never Googled anything, I'll teach you.
Okay.
You Google something and usually there's like it'll come up with kind of other similar questions or things along the topic.
Here's our hope that some Captain Literal is listening. He's like, this guy's this old.
This
and
guy's
never Googled.
But it'll give you like similar questions and then you can kind of go down a rabbit hole
Oh,
of,
for sure.
right, just
Oh my
clicking on
gosh,
all
yes.
the little things and give like a little quick answer. So then I click on one of those questions, which I don't even remember what that similar question was. So obviously I don't have friends. And one of the answers, so it like explained, yeah, this many friends, whatever. And then it said something that hit me And I was like, what the heck? Because why would that be something that would then, whatever. But anyways, part of the answer said, so just move with life. You will come across people who become your friends and stop worrying over it. It's as okay as you say it is.
Oh,
It's as okay as you say it is.
okay, break that down.
Well, I don't know why it was so shocking to me or hit me so hard, but I
I
was like,
like it.
it is as okay as you say it is because it is your life.
Yeah.
And it goes into things that we've kind of talked about before.
Yeah. I think
But-
I know where I might
But
go
yeah,
here.
I kind of took this in a few different directions because I think it's such a simple little string of words that seems very straightforward in a sense where it's just like, well, duh. It's as okay as you say it is.
It is. And yeah, you keep going.
But I also think there's a chance that people don't actually, it doesn't actually feel that way. You can maybe
No, it
say
doesn't
that,
feel that way.
but it doesn't always feel like, well, if I say it's okay, then it actually is just okay.
Yeah.
And so in this sense, we're talking about friends, where the idea then is, if I decide for me right now, all I need are my like 3 close friends, then that's okay. And it is
so
as
it shall
okay as
be
I say it
said.
is, and it is okay, and
Is
there's
that-
nothing, nobody can tell me otherwise.
I can print a certificate. We can make a decree amongst
Yes,
the land.
yes, that it is okay that I have 3 friends. Or if I decided right now at this point in my life that maybe I need more friends, then it's up to me to maybe go out more or join groups or start doing things
Wow.
and make the friends.
Is that a shot from
And
your
then
mom? That's what I was getting about.
Woo! But then it's like, then that way, then that is as okay as I say it is. And I think that this works with so many other things. Like you can just fill in the blank
Yeah.
with so many things. Because again, this is the first time we're all going through life. There
Yes.
is no actual rule book.
No.
There's nobody that actually gets to say, this is the correct way to live your life. And this is the correct way to do every little thing in your life. Right?
Or they're kind of unsure.
Yeah. Yeah. But they really, and I think it's hard for people to sit with the, well, I don't know the answer and I don't know all the things and I don't know if this is okay. Because I get that. It is hard. But it's an interesting thing to talk about.
Now, let me kind of take you on my train of
Sweet.
thought. I did Google AJR, which is our favorite band, and we can't wait to go. We've got tickets for a couple of their different shows coming up in 2024. But there's one of their songs called 2085, which is a brand new song, talks about it when they're 80 years old and they look back at life and they kind of say, huh, and I'll get to the friend part. But on one of them, he says, they say, go tell your grandson to go tell his grandson, you don't have to try so hard because I spent my whole life trying to be liked. And that only made him hate me more. But I like this line where he's talking about friends and he just says, so finish your work. Okay, it's getting warm out. If you've got friends, don't let them leave. I turned 20 something. It didn't mean nothing because not one of them were there to see. And I think that line alone, I know because it's almost when we go back to our high school days and, hey, I'll see you this summer and I'll see you for the rest of my life. And then how many of those people do you ever see again?
It's kind of crazy.
It's kind of crazy because
especially if you move away and you like do your whole thing. Yeah, it's crazy because they're the biggest part of your life when you're in high school, and then nothing bad even happens. You just kind of you start living your life and they start living their lives, and it's like I don't have that friend group anymore.
No,
you know, like
and
I
then,
don't. It's so different.
And I was thinking about, tell me if you have this relationship with any of your friends. So I was talking with Sydney. Sydney was talking about her friend Lena, who I love and adore, and she was talking about how they cannot talk for months and then they pick it right up where they are. And that's a trait that I always thought that it was kind of like a guy thing because I have friends that I worked with, a good friend named Jim, who hosts a podcast called Sad Dads Club, which I love. And one of my best friends ever, Grant, and we cannot talk for months or years, literally. And then it doesn't carry with it this negative, I've done something wrong. And I feel like that I've done something wrong vibe is the part where if that's the way you feel in a friendship, I kind of start feeling like that's something that the other person has caused you to feel. Like, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do this more? And that's where I think often you want to say, well, you can too. Or maybe because this friendship isn't exactly what I thought it was.
Yeah. No, and I think that I've seen that happen both ways where I have friends that even like some of my closest friends, it is the thing where we live in different places and we're doing our things and we kind of talk, but not a lot. But then when we hang out, it's like no time has passed. Everything's great. We're just happy to be there, happy to catch up with each other. And then I have friends where it did go the other way, where I do feel like it became kind of a,
why didn't you? Like I did something wrong.
Yeah. And then now it just is weird where then it's just not kept up on either end, you know, just.
Because I want to get all deep with that one. And I know this one where I start feeling like a hippie where, well, the reason I didn't was because I didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, if you kind of start from there.
That's kind of it.
Yeah, it's kind of that's why
just didn't
I
happen.
didn't get a hold. I didn't follow up because I didn't. And to be fair, you could have also,
Right.
but
And
you
you also
didn't.
didn't.
And if you say, well,
so-
I was waiting for you to, it's kind of a you issue.
yeah.
And so
And then it just becomes weird back and
it
forth.
really does,
Well,
which I-
neither is dead, and it's
Right.
maybe okay.
because I think maybe kind of what you're talking about, I think that maybe does kind of indicate where the friendship is.
Yeah.
Because I love what you're saying. You can define it however you want. And let's say that you have one or two good friends, but they don't live near you, but I almost feel like we could redefine it as, but you want to do more things,
Sure.
then you can expand your friendship circle, but you can even redefine what those friends are like. Maybe they're surface friends, or maybe you have
Yeah.
your pickleball friends, or your movie watching friends, or your whatever friend, gym friends.
Right.
But that
And
doesn't
it's
mean now
okay,
we're going to
yeah.
hang out all the time, right?
Right. They don't need to become this like ride
Yeah.
or die best friend,
Yeah.
which is kind of interesting because I think you don't think of friends that way when you are in high school and you are younger, or
Because they
it's
are
like
your ride or die.
they are everything. But as an adult, you do. It's like you find. I think that's when a lot of people have their mom friends, and a lot of people
Yeah.
have. I had like when I worked somewhere, I had work friends, and I had like
Yeah.
where it stayed strictly. We're work friends. We don't really hang out. I think
And
outside of
that's
it,
okay.
and it was great. It was great, and I think that
the point.
becomes normal, and I think it's okay. It doesn't mean you're not good friends, and it doesn't mean you don't have friends, and it's just
And if somebody's budding
works.
this, by the way, we're all for. I would love to hear feedback, because this is where I feel like this is one of the. Let me sound arrogant again. First times where I'm saying I don't know all the answers, Mackie. I really like, because I talk with clients often about friendships.
Yeah.
And I feel like we did skip a step that I think is good, where I feel like I have to normalize with so many people that, oh, this part's kind of normal, but then what do you
Yeah.
do about it?
Yeah.
Because people will say, I don't have a big group of friends. And my first reaction is, but I know it's me wanting to make them feel better, is
Yeah.
to say, I don't think as many people as you think do. And
Right.
the ones that do, I don't know how deep those friendships are.
Right.
And now I think we're saying, and that's okay.
And it's okay. But then also, I guess if we're going to, it's as okay as you say it is. It's for your life. It's as okay as you say it is. So if you do need the big group of friends, cool. Because again, there's no rule book. There's no actual. So maybe because I'm a mega introvert,
Uh-huh.
and so for me, I don't need a ton of people. Like I have my
I do,
couple of
and
friends, and I
yeah.
know some people need they're fueled by people, so they do feel the need to have the group. So I'm like, this is my experience, I guess.
Yeah.
Is really
I wish I literally had a hat that said therapist. I think I need to get one. So I can say, look at my therapist hat on. Because this is where I do feel there's a part of me that wants to do the quick check-in when somebody does say that of, yeah, but are you telling me that you need them because you don't like sitting with your own
Yeah.
self, your own
where is that
discomfort?
actually coming from?
Yeah,
Is it good?
because then that would be an amazing opportunity to self-confront and say, when I'm noticing that I need somebody there to make me feel better, then are there things I could do and then watch the yeah buts? Like when we talked about
Interesting.
earlier, I could build my own Legos. Well, yeah, but what if nobody tells me it's cool?
That interesting point, because it
Right.
is, I think it does go, it flips to your relationship with yourself and how okay you are spending time with yourself. Because I'm at a point, I'm pretty good with hanging out with me. I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay just doing my Legos. Same
I
way.
really like I like this podcast a lot, Mackie. And I have to tell you, I was talking with my cousin Keith, who I would feel like is one of those people that I say is such a good friend, because we can just talk and go months
We like
without.
Keith.
Yeah, we do. And
Keith's a good one.
and he and I were talking a little bit today just about I feel like we're talking about these things, and he likes we're processing these things in real time, and that adult daughter relationship. Because I even feel like our own friendship, I think, is pretty cool. And so I found myself telling him that, oh, I really enjoy having the friendship with my wife and my kids. And even as I'm saying it, I'm thinking, am I doing it right, guy? So therefore I don't need any other friendships, and that's okay.
I'm fine.
Exactly. Right. I'm okay. And you can't tell me different, but I really enjoy it.
Yeah. And so that's the whole thing. So if that's genuinely how you feel, it is just as okay as you're saying it is.
Yeah.
And that's great. You don't need to,
And it's funny because I'm like, and you guys like it too, right?
and everyone's cool with that, right?
And the whole
we don't need to
family.
change
You guys are like,
anything.
uh-huh.
Everything's great.
Just nobody wants to come hang out anymore. They're all busy.
So
That's okay.
it's okay, right, guys?
Right.
No, but it's as okay as you say it is. And I think this goes to like anything. I think I put in my notes that I feel like you can just fill in the blank. But if you decide, like we can bring it into career, if you decide it's time for a different career, if
For
you decide
sure.
your career's not good for you anymore, if you decide it's what, like it is as okay as you say it is for your life, because you do have that power over your own life and your
for
own
sure.
choices. And I also put something about dating, whether like if you think you want to be dating at this time in your life, if you don't want to be dating, if there's a specific person you're dating, and it's as okay as you say it is. But then this is where we flip it. And then I think in any of these situations, it's as okay as you say it is, or it is as not okay as you say it is. Because then I put something in there about, like, if you want to take crap from people and you want to let people walk all over you and treat you certain ways, whether that is career, relationship, whatever, it's as okay as you say it is. So if you're going to continue to say that it's okay, then it's going to keep happening and people are going to keep treating you like crap, walking all over you. The relationships are going to be weird, whatever it is. It's because it's as okay as you say it is until you say it's not okay. You know, so I think
If
so
it's
we
into the
unlocked
boundaries
it.
episode that we did last night, that I think is really helpful because I think people don't recognize, and I like that we pointed out the difference that a boundary is something you're doing for yourself. So when you decide this is not okay, then
that
it's setting
is
the boundary, but knowing that other people are going to, not everybody's going to go, oh, cool, I'll stop doing this.
Right.
Because that's the relationship that you're in.
Right.
Yeah.
But to an extent, you do have this power to say, okay, I'm okay with this or I'm not okay with this. And so then that, again, I feel like it's like unlocking a whole other
That's what you're saying.
Realm of things where it's like, okay, you also have the power to say, I'm not okay with this. Whether, again, it's in a relationship or it's just something in your own life where it's like, okay, this certain way I'm living my life, I'm not okay with that anymore. So I'm going to do something about it. So it's such a simple little thing, but I think it's so deep. So then I broke it down into 4 like section type, and I'm not even broke it down, but things that I feel like.
Okay.
Because I was trying to make it more of a broad topic. And so I was like, how do I like do more with this basically?
Yeah.
And so then these are 4 things that I was like, okay, I feel like these tie in. And so then I'm just curious. I have like little intros to kind of what I'm thinking with it. And then because I feel like I'm talking a lot. So please.
Oh gosh, no. And then I hope that one of these you'll ask me something else like, I don't know, nothing.
I got nothing.
So I'll be honest if I don't.
Okay. So the first thing that this leans into, I think, is personal autonomy, which for up until honestly probably last year, I did not understand what autonomy was. And I thought that it was just right on the, like with anatomy. I thought we were talking about the same thing.
Yeah. Like I can't even reach my autonomy to scratch it. Somewhere like that.
Okay. Exactly. So it was one of those words where I was just like,
yeah,
we're just going to pretend we can just glaze right over it.
Okay. Personal autonomy means what?
So personal autonomy refers to the fundamental right and ability of individuals to make their own choices, exercise their own free will, and have control over their lives without undue influence or interference from external sources. It's a cornerstone of individual freedom and human dignity. I feel like it goes kind of hand in hand with this, right? It's essentially,
it really does.
It's as okay as you say it is. It's essentially saying you are entitled to your personal autonomy.
Yeah.
As a human being, as somebody living your own life, you get that. You're entitled to it. And so I feel like this then emphasizes the importance of individual agency, is what I wrote, where it is just emphasis on the individual. It is individual. It is person to person. It is your life. So then I said each individual person holds the power to determine what they consider acceptable, permissible, comfortable, or uncomfortable and unacceptable in their lives. And then acknowledging that everyone's life experiences, values, and boundaries differ, and this makes it crucial for individuals to assert their own sense of what's okay for them. Like I said, it's completely up to you.
Yeah.
Which again, kind of going in circles here a little bit, but
you're building. I think you're building.
Yeah, it's completely up to you because it is your life.
Well, I have a thought.
To speak.
So this is what I like about that is, and then please keep in mind what I really appreciate about having you youngins doing the podcast like this is that I feel like I figured all this stuff out about 2 or 3 days ago. I know maybe a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And you're much younger. And so the fact that, and then because where I go next with that is, so then since you are going through life for the very first time and you're in the situation that you're in, if you look at everything with that curiosity of, okay, how do I feel in this moment? And then now I get to make this choice where I will go back to that agency concept. And then knowing that I can also still maintain a boundary. So I can even say, I think I want to try this thing and I can start heading down that path. And then at any point I can say, yeah, actually, I don't like this. And if somebody else says, man, but you said you wanted to, or, but I thought you were going to, or, but I want to, all of those are them issues. And I really think that, and I've spent some time with ChatGPT trying to come up with a nicer way to say that's a me issue, that's a you issue.
Yeah.
But I think I need to stop doing that because it just is. And if somebody even takes it a bad way, then bless their heart. That's a them issue.
Yeah.
But if somebody said, but I thought you were going to do it. It's like, oh, I was, and now I'm not.
Yeah.
And if they're like saying, well, that's not fair. Oh, that's a you issue.
Because really, it's like, yeah, if I'm okay with not doing whatever, like
Yeah.
if I'm okay with being done with this and
Yeah.
moving on to something better or whatever, yeah, and I feel okay with it, then who are you to say, well, gonna do this or you're
Yeah.
gonna like, and I feel like that makes me think of career things. And we know someone, get on my wavelength here.
Okay.
We know somebody that
I already
was
know.
going down
Yeah.
a career
Yeah.
path and was doing all the things, all the
They got
schooling,
pretty far
all
down
the,
that, yeah.
got very far down the path. And
Or even looking at like, this is going to be a long road. And
Yeah.
and hopefully I will someday eventually maybe like it. I
Yeah.
think, hopefully.
just holding on to this thing and kind of listening to, I think, outside
Yeah.
perspectives of, okay, I kind of said I was going to do this and they kind of
People that
think
are
I'm
like,
going to do
I think you
this.
should
And
do this.
so
This would
going
make
down
me
this.
happy with you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this person continued down that path for a while, I feel like, until they were able to almost just hear for the first time that they actually had the
Give 'em
permission
permission.
to make their own decisions. Like kind of what we're talking about, where
Yeah.
it's, you can choose the thing that you want and that is best for you. And then this person did end up choosing to say, you know what, I'm actually not going to do that thing I originally said I was going to do,
Yeah.
because for me as an individual, that's not the best thing for me. So I'm going to try this, right?
And
then
I know we're being ambiguous,
go
but
into
we
that.
need to keep on this one. But then, and people in their lives, even around them, said, I don't know what I think about that.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
Reacted, had all the reactions,
Yeah.
all the thoughts,
Yeah.
not necessarily positive. And just
Now they like what they're doing.
And now they love what they're doing. And it's the best thing for them. And it worked for them.
And I had to tell you, I have a relationship example from therapy that I again have to kind of keep ambiguous, but I think it's really powerful. Was somebody that I saw that was in a relationship. It wasn't horrible. This is a great sales pitch, but it wasn't great.
It's the worst thing in the world.
And I really felt like they didn't want to leave. They felt like they couldn't leave, but they also felt like they've never really exercised the right tools. And that's what they were coming to me for. And so I was kind of saying, well, here's what those tools would look like. And then I said, but remember, you can leave at any time. And this person just said, wait, are you telling me like you're giving me the permission?
And I can actually do
this? And this is where I wish I had a wand, because I want to be like, I give you permission. Because you've always got the permission actually. And then, but it was a really powerful moment. And this is one where they are showing up completely different in the relationship, and it is changing the dynamic of the relationship. So I don't want to say that, and that happens every time and then everyone lives happily ever after. But in this scenario, this person and the dynamic of their relationship has shifted significantly because they felt like they didn't have the permission to leave if things weren't good. So they were continually trying to manage their partner's anxiety and emotions and get rid of their own discomfort and all those things we talk about. And so they're showing up much more confident, which is allowing them to have that kind of that calmness and be able to set boundaries. And if the other person is reacting the way they have, and this person's able to say that I'm going to leave right now.
Yeah. Because I'm allowed to do that. Because it's my life and it's up to me.
In the back of their mind, they're saying, and they're not using that as a threat, because that's
not like, not
like,
some big
"Don't make
scary
me
ultimatum.
leave again."
I'll do it. But
so that is,
but just as a, hey, I'm like, I value myself enough that I can leave if that's what it comes down to. And I think that does, I could see how that would make a big difference. But that's really, it's the permission thing. I feel like that it's hard to feel like you have the permission. Yeah.
Looking into
we give you permission.
Yeah. I give you permission.
Yes. But really, because it's as okay as you say it is, and it's as not okay as you say it is.
Amen.
And that's it. Okay. Then my second thing that I feel like it leans into is, I said, navigating uncharted territory.
Oh boy.
Which going into kind of the unknowns, kind of the uncomfortable feelings. So I said, life is unique for each person because everyone experiences it through their own lens. And like we've talked about, nature, nurture, DNA, birth order, lived experiences, which is you say that stuff in your sleep.
I have the shirt that Alex gave me. Do you know this one?
I gave it to you with her, you jerk.
Yeah, you did
That's
too.
that picture I just showed you. I posted on your birthday.
Look at that. There we go. Look at that, everybody. You are your nature, your birth order, your DNA, abandonment, rejection, fears, hopes, dreams. That is you.
That is you. Yeah. And so because of all of those things, you are exactly who you are. And you have lived the very specific life that you have lived. Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Should we fight right now?
Yeah, we should.
But anyways, we'll just glaze right over that and not get upset about it. But yeah, since we're all going through life for the first time, there's no set playbook or guidelines that universally apply. I think often people who, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but a hot take, I guess, of sorts. But I feel like talking about this idea of there is no playbook, there is no universal set of rules, there is actually no correct way to do. There are good things and bad things, right?
Right,
But
right.
like I
Yeah.
feel
I
like
mean, there's
that's
some
you
things
know
that are
that
probably not going to murder
yeah,
anybody.
there are
But
better things in there, whatever. But there's no set. Here's what you have to do every second of every day, and here's every decision you have to make. So I feel like often people who potentially like control
Mhm.
or people that rely really heavily on structure
Yeah.
really like to play into that idea and act as though there is a rule book and one set path, one set way to do it, and like all of that, which I don't even know what my hot take is actually saying that. But there's something there where I feel like, yeah, like the people that need the control, is that just a way for them to kind of say, well, I know more than you, and this is the correct way. And if you do anything that I'm not telling you to do, you're wrong. Do you see what I'm saying at all?
Oh, I not only see what you're saying, I
Okay.
want to validate you. And then I've got, so there's a couple thoughts here. One is that I know my experience. So this is where when I start feeling like, okay, I am about to share something. I don't know what that's like to
Yeah.
have that. But where I see it manifest itself the most is when I'm doing work with the client and again, I love this modality, acceptance and commitment therapy.
Mhm.
And it's the evidence behind it is overwhelming as a way to overcome all kinds of mental health
Mhm.
challenges and
Mhm.
wonderfulness. But it starts again with all that. You're the only version of you. So you think and feel and behave the way you do because you do. It's where you start. So you're not automatic negative thoughts or stinking thinking or automatically broken. But then once you kind of accept the fact that, oh, check this out, this is what I think and feel, then you start saying, okay, well, then what do I want? Then I always say you take action on something that matters to you. So then people say, well, what matters to me? And then I've got this values exercise.
Mhm.
And one of the values that people can choose is a value of order. And a lot of times the people that will say, well, I'm a rule follower or I do value order. I'm not going to lie. And I say it now, like I used to probably sit
Yeah.
back on it a little bit more, but I say, okay, tell me about that one. Because I
I
feel,
don't know
yeah,
that one.
I don't either. And I feel like typically, when I'm helping people navigate things like faith journeys, faith crisis, or
Mhm.
that a lot of the people have a value of order and they are rule followers. So then they feel naturally like they are breaking a rule if they're doing what they feel is what they want to do.
Like if there is no rule,
Yeah.
you are
Yeah. So
breaking it.
So then if I say, well, then what do you want to do in this situation? That's where you start to hear a lot of well, I know it's not the right thing to do. And we were talking about this last night with your mom and I loved it,
Mhm.
but it was the concept of if you grow up and you hear that there is only one right way, then what does that
Yeah.
make every other way?
Wrong.
The wrong way.
So wrong.
So then
Yeah.
we kind of then naturally, and so if somebody has this value of order, and I have a theory that might be because they get a lot of validation young from doing the right thing. So
Mm.
then they get that
They
feels
just
good.
carry that in. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay,
So
then I
it's
will
like, I want to do the right
always.
thing because I want the validation,
Yeah.
even if they aren't aware that that isn't an external feeling now. But then internally, what it feels like to be them is they like the validation. And the way they get the validation is by keeping control and order in check. Because in ACT, we talk about this concept called psychological flexibility. And so one of the things you're trying to work toward is that you actually can do what you want to do. So you first have to figure out, what do you want to do? And then you have to get through a lot of I know I shouldn't. But then once you get past that, then you're realizing that down the road, you get to make any decision you want in any moment. So yeah, you might have a set of core values, but in any given moment, you still actually get to make a move. It's called a choice point towards something that matters to you. Or if you're not doing that, you're making a move away from something that matters to you. And often that's when you're trying to get rid of the discomfort or that sort of thing. What do you think?
It fits right in. I feel like that's deep. And I feel like that is exactly like goes into kind of what I'm
Yeah. But I appreciate that because I've
thinking
never
of.
got to talk a lot about, because I don't ever want to make it sound like I'm judging someone and telling
Yeah.
them that if they have a value of order, that it is wrong, because there isn't a right or a wrong. But if they're
Right.
saying I have a value of order, then the yeah buts that come with that might be, well, yeah, but then it might be more of a challenge to do something that you feel matters to you.
Yeah.
And
And so, yeah, I
that can be a
totally,
challenge.
and so I get that is, to some people, that's like the only way they can function.
Yeah.
But as somebody who doesn't value that, I guess
Yeah.
then from an outside perspective, then my theory sometimes is like, okay, then it would probably depend person to person. Like, how comfortable are you with the unknown and with the
yeah.
lack of control and with, or like, I don't know. Again, don't even really know my whole point with it. Just
I think it's a really good point.
thoughts and just
Because I think last night we were
interesting.
talking and you said something about something being scary. And then I feel like I'm being so deep, but it sounds like a wise guy where I said, until it's not. But I really mean that.
Really though.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes. But yeah. So then the last thing I said on that one was just But the idea is that personal experiences, choices, and perspectives are valid and unique to each individual, and nobody can say otherwise, really. So all of that to come back to just saying, whatever works for you, though.
Yeah.
Whatever's working for you is okay, and that works. And then that goes into the third of the four things. And I just said understanding personal limits and preferences. And I just said this one highlights the significance of understanding one person's limits, desires, strengths, and weaknesses, as well as just what you like and what you don't like. Acknowledging and respecting these factors empowers individuals to set boundaries, make choices that are aligned with their values, and cultivate a life that feels authentic and fulfilling for them, completely unique to you as an individual.
Here's where I want to joke
Yeah.
and say, I don't really get that one, but I do. But what it made me think about was love everything you said there. And then I think that part of when you start to, tell me what your thoughts are in this. But when you start to say, okay, now I'm realizing this is how I feel, this is how I think. And then I do now want to say that until I don't. And when your mom and I got married, I detested pickles.
Okay.
And this is something she brings up now, like in jest often.
Okay.
I said, if I ever start liking pickles, then you know something's up. We're 33, 34 years into our marriage now. And all of a sudden I'm like, pickles are not so bad. She's
Are
like,
you okay?
What? I know. Yeah.
What's wrong?
Is there another woman? Whatever. And I do think that's really funny because the reality is, it might have taken me 30 something years to even try them. And now it turns out they were okay. Part of me thinks I was in the London airport a long time ago at a McDonald's and they asked me if I wanted gherkins on my hamburger. I remember thinking, that is not, I don't even know what that is. And then they said, pickle, and then I was like, I don't want it now because it's called gherkin.
No, I think you ruined it.
So I think that's part of it. But I think that part where I reserve the right to change my mind because then I go back to what we started with that I like, where if somebody's like, but you said this, I'm like, oh, totally. But now I'm saying another thing. Like, that's crazy.
That's deep in itself because I'm trying to think of an example on the top of my head, but I can't. But I think there are so many things.
Roller coasters for you, Mackie.
That was a thing. I hated roller coasters and now I dig them. I hated scary movies, kind of dig them now. Lots of things, but the example I was trying to think of something, like I feel like there have been things in my life where it was a thing where I was like, oh, I hate that and it's terrible. And then I maybe changed my mind, but I felt like I had to keep saying.
Yeah. I'm glad
something
you said
like that.
Oh, because that's one
because
where,
I feel like that's a thing that I've done.
Yes. And I think most people do that. And that is an immature thing.
Yeah. Because it's stupid. Because why you don't have to pretend you don't. If you change your mind, it's okay.
Because if somebody then says, oh, I knew it. I knew you eventually like pickles. And I just have to go, okay.
Okay, cool.
But still, I want to go, well, you didn't know I would.
Right. It's like, okay, good for you.
Okay,
you called it.
You are the world-renowned pickle guesser. Knower.
Yeah. But it's so okay to change your mind. And it's okay because you're not the same person your whole life. Like you are, but you're not. Because you're learning and you're growing and you're changing and you're experiencing things. And so I think you change a lot as a person. So I think naturally the things, even the little things like pickles, gherkins, that can change if you like that or not. And it's okay. It's not like some weird thing that you have to be like.
I do run that one. That one's an interesting one where as a couples therapist, where I will hear regularly, not all the time, but regularly where somebody will say, he's not the same man I married. Or the guy will say, this wasn't what she said when we got married. And then you and I have joked on here before about, oh, you mean 15 years later, you didn't have it nailed down when you were in your late teens?
Like you almost have lived 20 more years of life and had all these experiences and it's not the exact same.
The fun part is to be able to get out of your, to get out of your own mind and just say that is quite all right. Then change,
just kind of go with the flow of the change of life because it's kind of fun that way. Okay, so then our fourth one, our last one, self-validation.
Okay.
And embracing self-validation. And I said, I think this encourages self-validation and self-trust. It's a reminder that an individual's assessment of their own situation, feelings, and experiences is valid and important. It fosters self-compassion and self-empowerment, acknowledging that only the person living their life truly knows what feels okay or acceptable to them, as well as what doesn't feel okay and what is viewed as unacceptable. So again, similar things we've already talked about. But this whole self-validation thing, I think it just comes back to, it's another way of just saying it's as okay as you say it is, because it is self-validation, but being okay with the validation that just comes from yourself. And it's kind of like what you're talking about with the Lego thing. Like, If
Why is
nobody's
that
going to tell
hard?
me, I
Why
don't
is that
know.
so hard?
Why do we? I mean, I think it goes to what you've said before about like, we need another person
To know we exist.
to know we
I mean,
exist.
the deepest of all core attachment wounds. Yeah.
And so I think there's probably a part of it there where it's just so hard to just like your own validation doesn't feel good enough, or at least for a lot
No,
of
it doesn't.
situations
And
like
I want
that.
to say until it does. And I feel like this is
Yeah.
all part of that maturing process, is that it's okay to acknowledge that we still want somebody to tell us okay. Because I'll have people that will hear my podcast, or I'm working with them individually or in a couple, and they'll say, I know I need to stop wanting validation. I'm like, oh, let's reframe it. I mean, I know it's normal to continue to want validation. That's okay.
It's very human, very normal. Yeah.
And it's so fascinating because part of that emotional maturity is being able to just sit with, we talked about it, but sit with your own thoughts and feelings and emotions and be curious of your own experience. And I know that what some of the more emotionally immature, even bordering on narcissistic individuals I work with, or people that are in those relationships, like that other person just has to have an opinion, which sounds good, but it has to be a strong opinion that has to then either be better than or smarter than, or they have to know something about everything. And they can't just say, I don't know. Why don't you tell me?
Yeah.
Or help me understand? Because then they will feel like, oh my gosh, then all of a sudden I will not matter. And then therefore I will not exist.
Yeah.
Not
And
that
so,
part.
but that's what it
Tangibly,
feels
but-
like
yeah,
sometimes.
Exactly.
And so I do think that's potentially why the self-validation thing is so tricky. But it is so, because again, I go in phases of this where sometimes my own validation is good enough. And I'm like, I got this. I'm good. Like, if I say so, it's good. Like, if I say I look good, then I look good. If I say I'm doing good, then I'm doing good. And then other times fall into the, post a selfie on my story and hope somebody tells me I'm pretty, or like do that whole thing. Download the dating app again. Like, do that whole thing. But there is such like empowerment to just letting your own thoughts and feelings be good enough, because they are good enough.
Can I tell you one last night?
Yeah.
You and Mom were vibing. You were having a moment. You're having great conversations. And I am sitting there and I could not tell you the chatter going on in my own head about, do you guys want to ask me what I think? Like, or I would think, I'm not going to just blurt in here because that's been the story of my whole life.
I'm right here too.
And then you both start saying some things that I say this stuff on my podcast all the time. But do you guys like?
Do you guys want to tell me that, like, I
right?
said it,
Or
and
then
it's,
I
like,
even
really
want to say,
good.
hey, it's crazy. I
like, I'm really smart. You want to point that out?
But all those were me issues. And I just
That's
sat
so
there
funny.
and I never said a thing about it till literally right now.
Wow. I had
So
no
we're
idea.
here. And so I want you to go, oh my gosh.
We got all those thoughts from your podcast. You're so smart.
Really?
Smartest guy I've ever known.
Maybe.
Just knowing that you're stop.
People have to go watch the
Yeah,
YouTube
you have
channel.
to now. You have to
I
know
said
it
to
just
double
happened.
check and see, and I made balloons come on the screen.
Or is it 2?
Oh, 2 makes the. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, maybe it's not.
Okay.
But no, that's it. And I really am saying that because I just think it is fascinating to be aware of this stuff. And I like bringing that up.
Yeah.
Of that you can be the people that are talking about it. You can be the professional that's sitting there helping people with it.
On all
and
sides
still
of it.
sit there and notice that I still want it.
Because it's very normal to still want it, I think. But there is some beauty to being like, hey, my thoughts are good enough.
Good.
I'm good.
You're all good.
You're all good. Yeah, so then just I wrote one last little paragraph guy, and I just said, when you trust yourself and when you love yourself, you know your limits, your expectations, your desires, what makes you happy, what makes you sad, what makes you anxious, what triggers you, what hurts you, what excites you, what you want out of life, what you need from life, what you deem as okay or acceptable, and the list goes on and on and on. But the beauty of it all is that at the end of the day, it is as okay as you say it is.
Mic drop.
Give me a mic.
I know. I had a lavalier mic that you can just set down gently because it's kind of pricey.
Do something. But
okay.
Really is. It's as okay as you say it is.
It is. Mackie, what a joy.
What a joy.
Will you come back again sometime?
Maybe one day.
Okay. And if not, then we'll do this over the internets.
We sure will. Like we usually do. Hey, thanks for feeling feelings with us.
I dig it, Mac.
We'll see you next time.
Love your face. Pick up our merchandise.
Doesn't exist. Goodbye.
Bye.